Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And on today's Going In Raw news brief, Miro shoots on his WWE departure. Tony Khan talks AEW wrestlers keeping indie dates. And we preview Smackdown. But first, WWE has announced Undertaker's final real goodbye. Larson, what's in the news?
What's in the news? So the question must be asked, and I shall pose it to you, Steve. Have we seen the last of the dead man?
Never. I
in a
signed
WWE ring.
a 15-year contract, and Vince is going to wring as much dead man out of that contract as he can.
I don't know, but in the latest trailer for this year's Survivor Series, which is all about The Undertaker, no mention of Raw versus SmackDown.
Brand versus Undertaker.
Current wrestlers know that. WWE has stated that The Undertaker will make his final farewell at the show, and this was seemingly confirmed as well in a subsequent WWE press release, which stated the following, quote, Undertaker's final farewell will take place at Survivor Series, capping off the Phenom's legendary 30-year career. Is Undertaker actually going to retire this time? Is he done? He seemed content with the Boneyard match in The Last Dance. He's like, if that's how I have to go out, that's cool. But there's always that caveat. If Vince needs me, he has my phone number. So
that's the big thing. Yeah, you can have a final farewell. Ric Flair has had how many of them? Terry Funk had how many of them?
Oh wow.
This is wrestling, dude. Like this is a great hook. I think they wanted something more of a hook than just celebrating the Undertaker. And so they're going to make it, his final farewell.
Is this analogous to when WWE like pretty much told Daniel Bryan he had to retire? I mean,
no.
Health issues aside.
Yeah, This I don't think it's had anything to do with that. I think this is more analogous would be Ric Flair because they told him and he didn't want to.
Yeah, that's kind of what I meant. Is Daniel Bryan didn't want to retire either, and they said, "Hey, you're come to Seattle. You're going to retire today."
No, I actually believe that in this case, it's more along the lines of, it's goodbye for now. Like you said, it's Undertaker understands the game. He understands how these things work. He understands how much value there is to be had in, a time when WWE desperately does need some value to their product. He understands. So I think he's probably totally fine with this. He's not going to go to AEW and become, Kane the Mortician.
No, that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen. I think he's probably totally fine. And he totally understands that next year he could come back. I'm
going to give this pay-per-view a ratings bump.
What could be the case is maybe, well, no, AJ's on Team Raw already. So no, he's not. I mean, I was like, okay, maybe there'll be maybe a last match they'll build for in 3 weeks. Where and somebody just takes a choke slam and a tombstone.
It could be this if they want to, kind of tie up that little loose story thread where AJ is traumatized from the Boneyard match, like he's on the verge, or Team Raw is on the verge of winning their Survivor Series match. Gong. Yeah. He's distracted. He takes a finish. He loses. Yeah. I don't know what else.
Yeah. Something. I don't know.
They probably won't reference it at all. He'll probably come out, talk for 5 minutes, and that'll be that.
I feel like that. I think they'll probably let AJ mention it. I mean, they made kind of a deal of it back in Money in the Bank after that.
What they could do is maybe throughout the show leading up to his speech, do segments backstage. Like, just really let the guard down. He's just wandering around backstage. People go up to him, hey, thanks, Taker. Thanks for your career. Yeah. Thanks for your inspiration, so on and so forth. He turns around, AJ's there, and he's like petrified. And he drops the Undertaker persona. He's just Mark Calloway. He's like, hey, AJ, it's fine. And AJ's still freaked out and just runs off.
Yeah, I like that. It could be something like that. So, yeah, dude, obviously he hasn't wrestled in I don't know how long. The Boneyard match, I guess, which wasn't even last match. It's not even like a real match. So it wasn't like it was Undertaker. No, no, he did matches after Undertaker Goldberg. He did matches after that. Didn't he do the... it was the Extreme Rules one, wasn't it?
Yes.
The Roman Reigns tag
good.
match. Yeah. Which was a good way to go out in terms of like actual matches.
Yeah, that was a really fun match.
Dude, they talked about it so much during the last ride that it wouldn't shock me if this was on the horizon. Plus, doesn't he have like... I don't know. Like he could do a podcast or whatever for WWE, whatever. network, podcast network.
Tales from the Dead Man.
Well, the Talking Dead. So, final farewell, maybe. But, you know, once you get 80,000 strong at WrestleMania again, 2022, then I could see him coming back and doing something.
Maybe.
It's entertaining.
Your host of WrestleMania, Undertaker.
Yeah. Mark Calloway. Hey, everybody. Hopefully enjoying the concessions here. Anyways, so let's talk about this. Speaking of people leaving the WWE, speaking of final farewells, Miro talked about his WWE final farewell, which actually did seem to be pretty definitive, at least for now. He spoke about what led to his WWE release during his recent appearance on Shock, Talk is Jericho.
Well, Miro took his time getting on Talk is Jericho because more often than not, you're released from WWE like your first booking is Talk is Jericho.
That's exactly where you go first, yeah.
He took a few weeks.
So he said this. He said, I got a text message the day of. It said, Miro, we need to talk. I actually had the feeling, so I wanted to call Mark Carrano. I was like, should I text him? But I was at the vet. It was like, okay, I'll take care of the dogs first. And the next thing you know, I get a text message. Hey, we need to talk. I knew right away. So I called him. He told me, I'm so sorry. And I really lashed out for 5 minutes. I did lash out because there's just so much. It was just much over the years. It was so much over the years. I was getting some of the boys around because we were not okay about how everybody was treated in the pandemic situation. We felt scared to go to work. And once again, it was probably 10 of us talking. Somebody leaked it to the office. From us 10 people that were talking, somebody leaked it to the office and to the dirt sheets. And once that happened, I knew right away they're going to fire me because they're going to blame it all on me, of course, because I'm the guy, but it doesn't matter. They fired me. I lashed out because I think we're on the path of doing something good because I do want to protect the boys. We all wanted to protect the boys and the girls. That didn't work out, and that's why I felt like they cut me underneath because I was just so angry, man.
Those transcripts are from Wrestling Inc.
Mm-hmm. Less than shocking and shitty.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yes.
But he's with AEW now. He seems to be pretty happy. I don't know, man. All the I mean, look, clearly he said he was fired, so he wasn't itching to get out. Although, I mean, he did sort of, didn't he? I don't want to say
there were
this
reports that he had requested his release, yes.
I thought he had confirmed that recently, though. And I don't want to say this without sourcing it. So if you want to speak for a few moments while I mention that.
There's some other interesting bits in this interview he had with Jericho. They talked about the process of him coming into AEW. I guess once the round of releases in April happened, Jericho talked to Tony Khan about who they want to bring in. And according to Jericho and Miro, Tony Khan, Miro was the one name, pretty much.
So he says this. Now, these transcripts are from Sportskeeda. And this is also from the Talk is Jericho show. Miro said that he had asked for his release from WWE in 2017 and that it became public news just a day later. He said he didn't feel safe in the company as there was no one to talk to about concerns that he had. He said this. I'm sorry. These transcripts are not just from Sportskeeda, but Sportskeeda got them from WrestleTalk. He said, well, I did ask. About 3 years ago, I did ask because it was another situation where I was just unhappy. And I talked to one person. The next day, that conversation was on the dirt sheets. It was like, really, who do you go to? Who do you turn to when you're down, when you need advice, when you need someone to be like, hey, man, you'll be okay? You have nobody because they're all stooges. Somehow it always leaks out. You just don't feel safe. If you don't feel safe, you don't know where to turn to, then you are naked out there. So, so he confirmed in 2017. I mean, dude, it seems like a pretty shitty place for a lot of people to work.
Yeah, it really does. It doesn't seem like the healthiest work environment.
No, it really doesn't.
Far from it. Speaking of healthy work environments, Tony Khan's trying to keep a healthy work environment. And during a recent interview with Sports Illustrated, he was asked, given that there have been several outbreaks at some independent wrestling shows the last few months, whether he'd continue to allow AEW talent to work the indies. This is what his answer is. Quote, I implemented a policy where people were only supposed to work indie shows when certain conditions were met. There have been times when people did not take that seriously, so I've tightened up the restrictions. I'll still allow it under certain conditions, but people need to look me in the eye and say that the conditions are being met. Our talent and their opponent need to be tested before the show. There also needs to be a good reason why the match is important. This is important for everyone's safety as well as important for our show. I've been flexible in the past because I thought it was good for the talent to have the opportunity to earn, as well as great for the fans and the indies as a whole. We also don't run every night of the week, so it allows for talent to get extra reps too. So we have a policy, and I'll be enforcing it strictly. He continues, I'm not going to end it. We are going to take a closer look at it. More so now than ever, people need to come to me directly about this. I'm going to be strict about what people can and can't do, but I won't say you won't see people make special appearances on independent shows because I think there's a lot of merit to that.
Tough situation for him to be in.
It is. It is. Seemingly, basically everybody at AEW has it in their contracts. Seemingly, there might be exceptions I don't know of, where they can work independent dates around the country. And that's great for them because, as Tony mentioned, they don't work 5 days a week like WWE does. So if they want to get extra reps, make a few extra bucks, they have that opportunity, and that's great. At the same time, though, Tony has a company he needs to protect.
And it ain't just some, dog and pony show, man. This is a national cable outlet deal worth a lot of money. So it's you really can't be messing around too much. So I understand this. This seems like one of those things that circumstances have brought this on. In an ideal world, I'm sure, the pre-pandemic days where, someone comes up to him and says, hey, can I work the show? Yeah, go ahead. And maybe at some point we'll get back to that. But those days aren't happening now, and who knows when they're going to happen. So in the interim, you got to do what you got to do to protect your business. I understand that. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. There is a Smackdown on tonight. Should be a fun one because Smackdown these days is pretty fun. Starts off with Sasha Banks. This is a Smackdown preview. Oh, on Twitter, on WWE's Twitter, they confirmed that Carmella, I think, is going to be in action, or she's at least going to be on camera and not in one of those little videos. So, gotcha. We're going to see what's going on with that. Sasha Banks is going to battle Bayley in their big rematch. That should be a banger. Should be a good match. Yeah, hopefully it made events the show. We got a couple of Survivor Series qualifiers. I can already see where these are headed. Otis goes head-to-head with Seth Rollins, and also Rey Mysterio takes on King Corbin. They're really going to make us sit through Survivor Series with Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio on the same team. I wouldn't mind that. Yes. Yeah. Yes, they are. I wouldn't mind that. Yes, they are. I think that's great. That's fun. I'd much rather have just a grudge match between Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio so this story can end. Yeah, but why would you give up like the drama of, this a lot more drama now on Team SmackDown by having these guys together. Plus shorter show, less matches. That's what I'm about. I'm up AEW, man. I'm afraid this show's going to be like 5 hours long, man. It'll probably be 3.5, maybe 4 hours with the buy-in and everything. Oh, I just want to get the Seth Ray thing over with. Let's get it over with. What should I eat tomorrow for whatchamacallit? AEW. Full Gear? Yeah, that. I'm going to have some Del Taco, dude. Okay. Yeah. That sounds good. I wish I had a Del Taco close by. I guess I could DoorDash or Double D DoorDash it. I don't know. Anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. Until next time, we'll talk to you later. Goodbye. Be a part of the best pro wrestling podcast today at patreon.com/Steven Larson. Enjoy tons of bonus videos, including patron-only live shows, gameplay, and vintage 10 for the wins, access to podcast question threads, the Friendo Care Package, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today at patreon.com/Steven Larson.